is On the Beat Live inside Carolina's weekly live beat show. John Bowman, bring in one of our special guests. I'm Tommy Ashley. That's Ross Martin. Adam Smith still here. John Bowman and Andy Bagwell.
Hey guys, how you doing?
What's going on? Of Duke Sucks fame.
That's
Andy,
right.
it's a big week for you, right? It's a big week, a big game on Saturday.
Yes, a big game. I'll be there, and quite nervous about the game, but pretty excited. And yeah, big week for a lot of reasons. We just released the sequel to Duke Sucks, Tommy. Duke Still Sucks, naturally called.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about it. And John, you can get Mr. Frazier in as well. Tell us a little bit about how it came about initially, and then and everybody that's watching on YouTube right now, that's Tate Frazier, legend. Tate Frazier.
Great to be here. Great to see everyone. I was watching before, so I'm locked in. So I'm just listening, Tommy.
You know where we're on, right?
Yeah, so I'm in. I got it.
Andy, tell us how the book
the IC office with Tate's name on there, the intern Hall of Fame.
Right. There you go. No, Brian Ives is in the Hall of Fame. I'm like right on the precipice.
It's like year by year. You guys, everybody's on there.
I love that.
Ballot. I mean, easily second ballot, right?
I just walk into the office every day and just kind of like Notre Dame rubs the play like a champion. I just rub.
Play like an intern today.
Yeah. Play like Tate today. Andy, how'd the book come about when you did the initial version, and then tell us a little bit about the second?
Yeah, so when the original version came out in 2012, and we sold more than a couple hundred copies, and it kind of went crazy. Landed me a spot on the I Hate Christian Laettner 30 for 30, and all sorts of funness. And over the years, Reed Tucker, my co-author, and I, something would come up and be like, "Oh, Grayson Allen's tripping dudes," and we're like, "Okay, that's going in the sequel." Zion Williamson got paid to go to Duke. That's going in the sequel. And we were kind of half joking about it, but the moment that Coach K announced the retirement tour last year, we were like, okay, Reed, this is a sign from the gods that we actually need to write this book. So we waited till the end of the season, and after it was over, we were like, okay, it's time to actually put pen to paper, digitally speaking, and started working on it. And here we are. And if you're wondering why the heck is Tate Frazier here with us, we asked him to write our foreword. So Tate is a great contributor to the book as well.
All right, Tate, how'd you manage to get to write, be not quite an accomplished author, but yeah, almost.
Yeah, I'm not a writer, you know what I mean? But Andy and Reed, I was in Maui at the Maui Invitational this year, or last year, I guess I should say, in 2022. And they reached out to me and they said, hey, we need someone to write a forward. We need someone that hates Duke with the visceral passion. I said, I can do that. Plug me in. Working with them was great. And just the whole story of Coach K's final chapter is you couldn't have scripted it any better. It was something out of Hollywood. And as someone that lived in Los Angeles, I can confirm it's out of Hollywood. So it all worked out perfectly. And to see Coach K in New Orleans, get on that golf cart for the last time, it's something I'll never forget. And I'm glad we all got to enjoy it together. It was great.
Now, Tommy, I have to tell you,
say that. I think we took a photo of it, Ross and I.
Oh yeah.
That's the best.
So I had to have Tate because, I'm older than Tommy, which means I'm practically dead, pretty much. So we needed that next generation of Duke haters, right? And so when Reed and I were looking around the landscape, we were like, okay, we got to find somebody who hates as much as we do and kind of carry the torch forward. It's Tate Frazier. So it was a no-brainer to choose him.
Yeah, Tate, let me ask you about what are you up to? Are you free to speak?
Yeah, I'm free. It's been a bit of a whirlwind in my world, but it's all good things. Myself and Mark Titus, we did a show called Titus and Tate. That is no longer. But luckily, I just got back with my old boss, Bill Simmons, who I used to produce his podcast, the Bill Simmons podcast, and I got my old show back, One Shining Podcast, which is a college basketball show, and doing that on my own, which I'm very excited about. So that has all kind of happened in the past week, 2 weeks. So it's been crazy. It's been fun. I get to stay in Los Angeles. I get to work with people that I worked with before. So it's all good. And I love college basketball. And I thought there might be a world in which I didn't get to talk about college basketball this March, which would have been very sad. But luckily it all kind of worked out. And now I got a nice little home, and I'm going to be at the game on Saturday, and I'm going to do a podcast right after the game. And that is the beauty of podcasting. And I'm excited, and I appreciate all the Carolina people that have reached out so far. And today I was in Chapel Hill, got to go. Oh, Brian Ives. Look at that. Oh my God. I love Brian Ives. But yeah, I am very excited about the opportunity and what's ahead. So it's good to be back in the Ringer world.
I got a question.
I listened to the first podcast they take. It was really great. So the kind of reminiscing with Bill Simmons was awesome. So if y'all haven't checked that out yet, you gotta go out there and get it.
I gotta get my
that plug.
I gotta get my radio voice here to compete with Tate's voice there. But we're all smart here. First time, long time. Tate, what's the challenge now to you've been on a show with Titus for so long, and now doing kind of the solo thing? I'm sure you're gonna have guests and stuff. I've always thought, a show by yourself is so challenging, for radio, whatever. Have you thought about that? What's going through your mind now, kind of doing a one-man show versus bouncing off and playing off somebody?
Right. It's a lot more fun when it's you and your friend, and you guys can just kind of like turnkey plug and play, right? Titus and I, off the air, we talk about college basketball the same way we talk about it on the air. I have listened, and I've been around a lot of Colin Cowherd in my life, so I have seen one man talk to himself, and I did not want to be that guy. I am not that guy. Luckily, I have a great producer, Kyle, who is, does Bill's podcast and does Ryan Russillo's podcast. And we have a great rapport. I used to be Bill's producer. I taught Kyle how to be the producer. So it was a nice little, back and forth with the two of us. And, Kyle Mann is going to be my co-host on Tuesdays. So the two of us and Kyle Mann went to Kentucky. He's a Kentucky guy. So we're blue bloods. We can talk about it. And we've been friends for a couple years now. So it's nice to have that consistency on that show. And then the Thursday show, we're going to try to get some guests, names like a Jim Nance potentially, or like a Ty Jerome, a Johnny Juzang, right? Guys that I have dealt with over the years that have been great. So it's going to be fun. I will see what happens. I'm going to miss the rapport that I had with Titus. It was something special. It's something that I'll never be able to recreate, so to speak. But, I'm excited about the future, and Bill has been gracious enough to say that he will watch college basketball for my behalf. So if Bill Simmons is going to watch college basketball, why not the rest of the world? And we can all talk about it together. So that's the hope.
Get in here, Adam.
That's Jay Silky. I had a question. For Andy. Is someone who takes a lot of notes. I don't know if this is the nerd section of the questioning here, Andy. After Ross and Tate do their cool stuff, great hair, that pairing there. So let's dork it up over here. Honestly, as someone who takes a lot of notes, I guess it's the only way I know how to do it. What in the world is the note taking mentally or physically when you're trying to write a book? Or do you just, like you're saying, like, are you just at the grocery store and something hits you and you're like, jotting it down in your phone? Like, how do you go about it? It just seems like it's an enormous task, or it seems overwhelming to me.
It's a great question, Adam. I mean, the magic of Google Docs, first of all. So Reed and I, anytime we would exchange a note or something, like we text each other, "Oh my God, did you see what Paolo Banchero said?" or whatever. We would put it out in Google Doc, just like, "Hey, here's a list of things." And we started writing this in July. So and really didn't finish it up until December. So it takes a while, and you break it up into chunks. So each chapter is kind of its own thing, and it might take a couple days to write a chapter or not. It might take a little bit of research, and we probably had, things we listed out that we thought, okay, let's write a chapter or an essay about this. There's probably 20% of that we just end up saying, it's not really that funny, or it's not really that useful. And we dump it. But it's kind of a collection over the years. And then once you kind of start getting into the writing, we dive in, do a little research, and our process is really like, I'm the idiot who has all the vitriol, and it just kind of spews out, and Reed comes in and cleans it up. So that's kind of the process that we found works pretty well.
You just get mad and barf it all out. I got you.
I think the listeners will enjoy this. If Adam can grace us with his Grayson Allen Elon story briefly. I mean, you want to hear a good Grayson story. Adam covered Elon, and that's when
take some notes. Just a second.
We don't have enough time. I mean, I'll go.
And this is when Coach K orchestrated like the media thing, right? All right, 2 minutes, Adam.
Let's go.
I mean, Ross, when your memory hits, I get so proud of you. Like, it is amazing. Well, I don't know. You know what I was thinking about today, Ross? Do you remember the game in Brooklyn when Grayson Allen hip checked Garrison Brooks?
Yes.
Ross and I figured up, we were talking about it that night, that I had covered in my previous job 3 of the 4 Grayson Allen trip games. But yeah, there was a night in December right before Christmas when Duke played Elon at the Greensboro Coliseum. Carolina was playing somebody that night in Chapel Hill. And it was like a 6 o'clock game. So it was like, you're kind of like on a newspaper deadline. You're like, this is going to be a nice little, skip to the finish line here. And it just went, I mean, the guy went apeshit, you guys have seen it. Even Santa Ana was the Elon player who, to be honest with you, kind of like Grayson Allen on a CAA level. Yeah. Might have been why they played at heads. But yeah, Grayson tripped him. Then K benched him. He went absolutely game day Charlie. Charlie Mickens got the video. He went berserk on the bench. You remember, pitched a tantrum. And then, for us who sees all the stuff, how the sausage is made behind the scenes, it just got completely like nothing I've ever experienced before. The locker rooms were closed for like 45 minutes. And this was at the Greensboro Coliseum. So you're like waiting in this hallway and you could see the locker rooms. And Coach K is coming out of the Duke locker room. And then Grayson is coming out of the Duke locker room. And then they get Santa Ana. He had like a meeting with the Elon's coach, Matt Matheny, Steven Santa Ana. Grayson's crying. He's just like, what's the word? I mean, he's lost his mind. We went into the locker room and talked to the Duke players, obviously, did the post-game interview. You couldn't even understand Grayson. I got down on my knee because he was sitting down. I mean, it's going insane. All right, I got to stop. I'm getting the 2-minute thing.
Wow, keep going.
He couldn't even talk. He couldn't even talk. And I
couldn't even talk because he got benched.
Remember Matt Jones, the Duke guard, that night? And he was saying that Duke had some like 9 or 10 days off after that. And he's like, yeah, I think we need a break.
Wow. Yeah, I think so.
Well, but I'll tell you, got up there and told everyone that the ACC didn't need to suspend Grayson because he will handle the discipline. It was an unbelievable kissing of the ring that entire night with Grayson Allen having a psychopathic episode.
Didn't K orchestrate the apology between everybody and everything, right?
He orchestrated everything. Yes, they had a handshake where we could see it. I mean, it was crazy. Like they had, it was like, what would it be like? The 2 kids in the neighborhood getting a fight. Like, all right, Eddie, go over there and shake his hand and tell Mrs. Young that you're sorry for it was just unbelievable. Kay told everyone, and we knew some of the SIDs. I knew the Elon SID who was witnessing all this. He told us everything. Like, he's like, okay, this is how it's gonna go. And then Kay got up there and said that, Steve's. I never will forget. Steve said I play hard too.
Oh my God! Oh God! Just give me a break. But I'm gonna have to update the book now. Why did I not find
as great as it is?
Well, I'll tell you this: we did write 3 whole chapters right now because how can you not, right? But I won't spoil this in the book, but I will tell you this: as I started digging into his background, I found myself conflicted. Like Joel Berry and he were like best friends in high school, and I was like, something is not adding up, and so. Yeah, it was interesting digging into his background and kind of his story. Not that I forgive him and he's still number 2 on the all-time hated Dukies list, but I was conflicted.
Interesting stuff. They're all wrapped up together. Tate, let's talk about this year's Carolina Duke game on Saturday night, 6 o'clock. Final 4 game, nobody's ever going to top that. But I think this game is very, very big for North Carolina basketball because I think it at least gets them in the door for the NCAA tournament. How's it shake out, and what you think about the gravity, to use a Ross Martin word, of this game for Carolina?
Yeah, I think it's a big game for North Carolina. Obviously, that's implicit. We all know that. I think in general, this is the most must-win game that they've had as a group this season. They have to win this game to keep people back in the conversation, to get people to believe that this team can turn the switch. One of my favorite Roy Williams quotes is that, the only player that could ever turn the switch on was Michael Jordan, and he never turned it off. This team seems to think they can turn the switch on and off as if they are Michael Jordan, and it turns out they are not. And that is, I don't know if that's because they wear North Carolina blue. They think that's the case, but it's not. So you have to win this game. I mean, there's no questions about it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I saw Ross tweeted earlier that Leaky said they need a nasty win. I'd love any kind of win. I don't care if it's pretty. I don't care if it's kind, but I would like a win. And that's the way that they need to go into this game. And I know Hubert has been, Hubert is not the biggest fan of the media, so to speak. So he likes to, when the media says this, he says, well, that's not necessarily the case. This isn't a must win. This isn't that, this is all made up by you guys. Well, this is the reality of the situation. There aren't many games left. You have to win this game to let people know if this team is legit, if they have a chance to actually make a run. I think they do. I personally believe one team will be from the ACC will be in the Final Four. I don't know what that team will be. I don't know if it's going to be Miami. I don't know if it's going to be Carolina. I don't know if it's going to be Duke. I don't know if it's going to be NC State. I'm not sure what ACC team is going to be in Houston, but I personally believe one of them will be there. I would talk myself into Miami currently, but I know North Carolina has the potential to beat anybody. I have seen them play at that level. And this weekend, if you really want to be that team that was preseason number 1 and has a chance to make a run in March, this is the first step to let people know that you can be that team. So this weekend is important. And Duke is playing great. And that's the good news, because it's going to make this win mean even more if you do get it, because Virginia was great and all, but Virginia, we just saw them get blown out by Boston College. So there's always the caveats. And as we all know about how the quad system works and the net works, Virginia's at 30 right now. So as soon as they drop to 31, that quad 1 win goes away and nobody cares about it. So you're North Carolina. You have to lock in. This is everything. This should be all they're talking about. They should be fired up. And I just hope they come to play. And I hope Baycott has more than 1 point. And I think if he does, they have a chance.
Yeah, really. Baycott needs to show up on perhaps his last game in the Smith Center. Perhaps. Andy, couple questions for you. One, we discussed this with Will Blythe and Melvin Scott earlier in the week, Greg Barnes and I. Has this rivalry, is it the same now with Kay gone?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a new chapter, maybe even a new book, Tommy, but I think, I listened to that interview with Will. It was great. So, I agree with him in some sense that there's always going to be something that happens, right? I mean, and certainly the rivalry heated up during Kay's time, but there were incidents before, before Kay arrived. So, you think about the Larry Brown, Art Heyman fight. We in our first book, we talked about this incident in like the 1940s where Duke was practicing a play to throw a ball at the opposing player's head. So, I don't know what it is that's going to be there, but I feel absolutely certain that it will be. And if you think about it, guys, that it's not like they varied far from where they've been. Shire played for Kay, coached for Kay, really was nowhere else. Kay hasn't even left the building. He kept his office. So, I mean, he's like the college kid who comes back for high school parties. I just think Duke is Duke, and they're going to be Duke. And I don't see it changing much, in the near future. And I honestly hope it doesn't. I enjoy this, even the lows of the rivalry. You have to experience those to get to the highs like last year.
All right. Tell us how to get the book. Tell everybody that doesn't already have it how to get it.
Well, you can get where books are sold. So, in fact, Tate and I will be at the Student Union on Saturday at 3 o'clock. I'm doing a book signing along with Reader. And the guy who did some amazing illustrations in the book, his name is Joel Tesh. So you can get it at the student stores, but anywhere that you like to buy books, you should be able to find it. And if you don't see it in your favorite bookstore, just tell them to order it. So yeah, go out and grab it. It's a fun little read, and Forward is awesome. Tells a great story of this kind of coming to know UNC and his hatred of Duke, and a lot of fun little stories in there. So yeah, we'd love for people to pick it up.
Yep, Duke sucks. Duke still sucks. Andy Bagwell, Tate Frazier, One Shining Podcast on the Ringer. Man, glad you're back.
Yeah,
we started to worry that I don't listen to many other podcasts, but you and Titus were one of them, and I was like, this dude can't be gone. So glad it's worked out.
Yeah, it worked out well, and I'm excited about the book. And like Andy said, I'm excited to be back on campus tomorrow and see students, and and have the book out there. So it'll be great. And Duke always sucks. That's what we got to remember. Duke always sucks. So that's it.